Well, good afternoon, or good morning. We're kind of always on the verge. Welcome to the 2019 Communication and Business Leadership Experience final presentations. I'm Heath Queen. If you do not know me, I'm the coordinator for Engaged Learning in the Department of Business, and I have the opportunity to co-direct this program along with Professor Kevin Steidel. And it's been a privilege to work with this group of students over the course of this past year, and we're proud of the work that they've accomplished and are excited to be able to share that work with you. Over the past week, I've been going through our Cable alumni list, and for those of you who are here thinking about participating in the Cable program in the future, we're excited to share their experience with you. But I thought it'd be interesting just to kind of go through some insights of the Cable alumni that we have as I went through and updated that list over the course of the past few weeks. So Cable at Wittenberg has been around for 13 years. It started in 2007 as communication leaders in the communication department, and business was added in a little bit after that. You can come on down and take a seat in the front row here. Now that we are 13 years into the Cable program, we have over 140 alumni that have passed through this program in some form over the 13 years that are here. We always do a year-end trip to Chicago or New York, and after those trips, we now have 5 alumni who are living in the New York City area, 16 of them who are living in Chicago, 3 in San Francisco, and 5 in Washington, D.C. 2 of them in Washington, D.C. were actually on the trip to D.C. and met with alumni there last year. We have alumni in Geneva, Hanoi, Vietnam, Singapore, Brazil. 22 work in nonprofit spaces, and then we have alumni across companies like Speedway, Netflix, JP Morgan, Google, Facebook, Glassdoor, Nationwide, and the list could go on and on. So I think this program is a great example of the experiential learning opportunities that Wittenberg can provide you, among many other things. We hope that you consider applying for the program in the future. We want to thank you again for joining us, and it is my privilege to introduce to you the 2019 Communication and Business Leadership Experience group to talk to you a little bit about their year. Thanks.
So hello again. We are the Cablers of 2019. This will be our final presentation. Just to get us started, we thought we would do some brief introductions. So my name is Jack Wolf. I'm a marketing major with a minor in data science from Troy, Michigan. On campus, I'm a 2-time captain of the men's lacrosse team. I'm on the executive committee for Delta Tau Delta. I am the marketing intern at the Compass Center, and I'm also our SAC rep for the lacrosse team. This past summer, I worked in market research at Gongas Inc., which is a market research firm in Royal Oak, Michigan. There, some of my daily tasks include communicating with clients, testing surveys, quota management, and just proofing any report that we had before we sent out to our clients. And a fun fact about me is I've been to Australia where I got to swim with a shark.
Hello, my name is Ross Angelo. I'm a double major in sport management and business management with a communication minor. On campus, I was the captain of the men's soccer team this past season, and I'm also involved in Greek life, where I serve as the interfraternal council president, where I'll be ending my term this semester. This past summer, I was up in Massachusetts, where I worked at the World Sports Camp as the director of soccer development. And a fun fact about me is that I have my real estate license for the state of Ohio.
Hello, my name is Corinne Berner, and I'm from Springfield, Ohio. Currently, I'm a marketing major with a double minor in communication and management. I've also been blessed with the opportunity to play basketball for the university, where I've recently been voted in as captain. Outside of athletics and academia, I'm also a community service coordinator. In this position at the Hagen Center, I help connect students to local service opportunities in the area. This past summer, I interned at the Speedway corporate headquarters in Eden, Ohio. Here, I was a corporate recruiting intern. One of my biggest achievements there that I'm most proudest of is being awarded the Speedway ACE Award, which stands for Achievement of Company Excellence. I earned this award by coordinating Speedway's first corporate hiring event, where we filled 18 open positions with quality candidates. During my time here, I also helped develop a new interviewing strategy that will be implemented throughout the entire corporate office. And I also recruited for up to 10 positions and organized reports that analyze our applicants. After I graduate, I accepted a job at the Speedway corporate headquarters, and I also plan on entering into Wittenberg's Masters of Business Analytics program.
Hello, my name is Elena Dumm. I'm a communication and music double major from Cleveland, Ohio. This past summer, I had the opportunity to stay on campus and work with a professor at the Hagen Center to create a community dashboard for the city of Springfield, Ohio. We collected public data and statistics about Springfield from multiple public sources and arranged that data in over 300 tables and charts on the website. This information allows the community leaders of Springfield make better informed decisions about how to improve the community. This semester, I'm continuing to work with the dashboard, updating the information, and helping implement a social media campaign for the website. I also work as the web editor for the student-run newspaper here, The Torch. I manage the website and update all of its social media accounts. A fun fact about me, I used to be a camp counselor at a Christian classical music camp where I learned how to play the clarinet very badly.
Hi everyone, I'm Meghan Shelby. I'm a double major in marketing and communication from Cincinnati, Ohio. On campus, I'm the vice president of social standards for my sorority Delta Gamma. I'm also the captain of the women's golf team, and I work as a social media manager for the university. This past summer, I was in Cincinnati at Cintas at their corporate headquarters, where I worked in their marketing department. I had the chance to work on 2 different marketing teams. I worked with rental and facility services, where I got to do email campaigns, design projects, data projects, a lot of different things that got me a lot of great experience. And when I was exposed to the company, I realized how much I loved it and wanted to stay with them, so I'll be working with them after graduation in Nashville, Tennessee as part of their management training program.
Hello everyone, my name is Ryan Probst. I'm a mathematics major from Cincinnati, Ohio. On campus, I'm the outgoing president of my fraternity, Phi Kappa Psi. I am also a captain of the baseball team, and I work in the writing center. This past summer, I interned at Sugar Creek Packaging, one of the nation's largest co-packers of various meat products. Here, I analyze different metrics, including downtime, production, and profitability rates.
Good afternoon, my name is Maggie Coverline. I am a communication major and journalism minor from the Cleveland area. This summer I stayed right here in Springfield and worked down the street at the Clark County Combined Health District. While there, we went out into the community and assessed food insecurity and health equity, writing reports and collecting data on it. I'm continuing my role there as their social media manager, and I put out various PR content for them. On campus, I serve on the executive board for my sorority, I sing in the Wittenberg choir, and I beatbox for Just Eve, the a cappella group. If you want to come to our concert on Saturday, see me after.
My name is Sinclair. I'm a marketing and educational studies double major from Pittsburgh, PA. The last 2 years, I've been interning in the event planning and scheduling office, working as a project manager for Compass. And this last semester, I've been interning at Sheehan Brothers Vending, a local company, in their HR department. I'm also involved as the class of 2020 treasurer and a 2-year vice president for Delta Gamma. This past summer, I was the director of my local recreation camp where I had 40 employees, 50 volunteers, and 250 children all under me. And I'm still looking for opportunities for after graduation.
Hello everyone, my name is Victor Verdier. I'm a financial economics and business marketing double major from Upper Arlington, Ohio. This past summer I had the opportunity to work for Kaiser Permanente at their headquarters in Oakland, California. There as the digital marketing intern on the National Strategic Customer Marketing team, where I did things from data analytics to marketing strategy. Fun fact about me is I have dual citizenship between France and the United States, and I'm also bilingual.
Hello everybody, I'm Tyler Humble. I'm a communication major, proudly from Dayton, Ohio. Over the summer I interned for Publicity for Good, where I studied videography, photography, and studied marketing trends, as well as work for Kettering Health Network, where I do transport, EKG, and blood draw. At Wittenberg, I'm a member of the Class 2020 Cabinet, as well as a member of Greek Life. And an interesting fact about myself is I like to follow the quote by Will Smith, God placed the best things in life on the other side of fear, end quote.
All right, good afternoon everyone. I am Maddie Walters. I'm from Dayton, Ohio. I study finance and business management. On campus, I'm involved in Greek Life as well as president of Investments Club, which holds and manages a portfolio of about $150,000. Over the past summer, I worked at Wells Fargo as a wealth and investment management intern. This internship placed me in San Antonio, Texas for the summer. Through this, I was able to learn and work with the top financial team in the complex.
Alright, so moving forward, this is just a brief overview of what we're going to talk about today. So we're going to recap our spring semester, then we're going to talk about some of the fall speakers that we had, the New York City site visits we had. We'll talk about the JP Morgan Chase case study, the Google case study, and then we will wrap up and have time for questions. So in the spring semester recap, we're going to talk about the site visits, the speakers, and then also our case study as well.
So as you can see from our spring visits, we went to different companies within Springfield, Columbus, and Dayton. And these were wonderful opportunities because we got to see many different types of businesses. We went to large corporations, we went to nonprofits, we went to small businesses. So it was a really great experience to see the different ways that these companies work together and see the different company cultures. Some of our key takeaways, as I mentioned, they're very diverse and local opportunities, so it was great to see all of those opportunities that may be available for us as soon as we graduate. And personally, I really love the spring visits because I actually got an internship opportunity out of our Speedway trip that we took during our Springfield visits. And it was great to be able to have that connection and be able to say, hey, Cable did this for me. And it also led to a job opportunity, so I'm extremely thankful for that. They also taught us a few lessons about life after college and really shared their experiences with us. And then they talked about some career advice and how to be a leader, not necessarily just amongst your peers, but also how to lead yourself and push yourself forward. We also had some wonderful spring speakers. Some of those names are probably familiar to you all. We have Dr. Bodie up there, Dr. Wagner up there, and we also have Dr. Gradwall up there as well, along with a lot of Wittenberg alumni. So some of the few things that we've learned was, as you saw, we had our 45-second intros, so we got some tips on those and how to present ourselves professionally. We also learned how to get the most out of Cable. And then we learned some applicable skills, like how to dress professionally, what's the difference between business professional, business casual, smart casual. All of that stuff was some very important lessons that we were happy to learn. We also learned about ourselves through the Myers-Briggs assessment and through leadership development and how to build a personal brand. And all in all, we also learned about fun tips and tricks for LinkedIn that will help us as we graduate.
So Cable is known for the really big fall case study, but we also had a spring case study as well, which myself and Ross were put in charge of, and it was both terrifying and rewarding to kind of dip our toes into the world of case study work. So we were divided up into two groups. The first group was tasked more with coming up with a marketing strategy to connect to alumni. And some of the ideas we came up with there were to update the alumni database. So we got this database from the Alumni House. There's right around 150 plus Cable alum names on there, so we got to go through each and every single one, see what they were doing, see if we could connect with them. Super fun. And then we moved on to social media, so we thought that Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram were able to give us the broadest range of reach where we can reach out to these alumni and form relationships with them. And finally, we came up with the idea to do a biannual newsletter. This would be released at the end of each semester and kind of just a recap of, you know, who we are and what we did that semester. And again, this is all for the broader goal of building communication and relationships with the Cable alum that we value so much. The next group was all about strengthening Cable's online presence. So this group updated the website content and actually did like a mock website design, which was new for a lot of us up here. And additionally, they came up with potential content for Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. Instagram and Facebook being focused on Cable spotlights for each and every one of us. If you go on the Cable Instagram, you'll see little snippets about each and every one of us, and also visit recaps after we went there and, you know, what did we do, this is the pictures that we took, and these are the alumni that we connected with. And finally, LinkedIn being more of a professional focus, so how are we developing professionally?
So moving forward, so in the fall semester, we didn't get to go to any site visits except for the New York City trip, but we did get to have a number of great speakers come into the classroom. So one of the first ones we had was Jim McCoy. So Jim is the Associate Vice President of Sports Marketing and Sponsorships for Nationwide. And so it was really nice to get to ask him questions, learn a little bit about innovative ways to market to consumers. I know you might read about it in a textbook or you might learn about it in class, but it's totally different once you hear about it from the real world, from the working world, how they actually do it, what's the process that they go about. So that's a very valuable thing that we got to learn. He also talked about sponsorships and how they can be used to help build like an authentic connection to consumers. If any of you are familiar with the Walter Payton Man of the Year Award in the NFL, it's presented by Nationwide. So the whole goal is to help build like that authentic connection, just make it more relatable. And then he also talked about utilizing your personal network in order to reach a goal. It's very important. Who do you know? How many people can you reach? So using them to reach a goal, and then don't be afraid to go for a lofty goal. Maybe you want to work at JP Morgan or Google. It might be a little bit of a lofty goal. You want to have a certain position, but it's okay. Use your network, reach for these lofty goals because you might be able to get it. Another speaker that we have is Dr. Wilson. Thank you for being here. Who is the chair of the Business and Economics Department. She gave us an in-depth look at preparing for retirement. I know I've already started preparing for retirement, and I haven't even worked, so it's fun. So, we also learned about ways to budget on a full-time salary. A lot of college kids coming out of school might be having debt, so how can you make a budget while you're trying to work, pay off debt, possibly buy a house, various things like this. And then how can you position yourself for financial success in the future? Where can you put money in? Where can you invest? What are things you can do so that if something does happen, you will still be financially stable after that does occur?
Okay, so some more fall speakers that we were able to connect with. The first one that I'm going to talk about is David LaRue. He graduated in 1993. He just retired from being CEO of Forest City Realty Trust. So with this, he talked a lot about building relationships with other employees because this company was family-owned and family-managed. That he was the first CEO of the company that was not part of that family. So he taught one quote that we thought was very interesting was, participate in your own life or you're going to be participating in someone else's. So this kind of says that you're going to do what you want to do. Don't really do anything that someone else says that you think would be good at. But if you enjoy what you're doing, you're going to grow and succeed in all the goals that you're accomplishing too. Something else that he said was be willing to stretch yourself. So take your goals and maybe stretch them a little bit farther to make sure that you're growing at the fastest capability that you're able to. Another person that came in and talked to us was Angelo Kress. She graduated in 2004, who is a senior community manager at GitHub. GitHub is a social coding platform that's throughout the world. So she worked on and pretty much developed the GitHub Community Forum, which is where people from around the world are able to look into helpful advice, kind of like a connection network where everybody can answer questions and help develop some questions that they have. She also talked a lot about self-motivation and work ethic. We asked a lot of questions about how, since she works remotely, we asked a lot of questions about how she gets up every morning and does her job. Because also GitHub has unlimited amount of paid vacation days. So it's kind of hard to beat. But she said she loves what she's doing. If you love what you're doing, then you're going to be self-motivated and you're going to have the work ethic to get what you want to do done. She also talked a lot about how liberal arts, how Wittenberg helped her, because she was able to connect with different perspectives, different people from around the world, and just getting the liberal arts degree helped her with that.
All right, the last fall speaker that we listened to this semester was Dr. Mike Madison. He's the director of the Writing Center. He basically talked to us about the importance of writing, not only within your career, but also as you're looking for jobs and seeking out those opportunities. He even told us to maybe send in a sample piece of our writing for jobs to kind of give future employers maybe like a tidbit of like what we're good at in terms of that writing perspective. He also talked about writing intensive classes and the importance of those. It gives students a platform to write, even if they're maybe not an English major per se, or in that field of study. Just kind of a personal note, I'm a math major, so I'm really not around the English side all that much. But being in this writing intensive program placed me in English 101 with Dr. Madison, and that's how I met him, and that's how I work in the Writing Center now. So it's kind of cool just to see how that flows. And also in cable, we learn a lot about the verbal communication aspect. Obviously, we give a lot of presentations. We learn about how to present ourselves in job interviews and whatnot. But kind of having Mike come in and talk to us about how to put words on a piece of paper was nice too, to kind of get that other sense as well. And then we took a step back a little bit and had a workshop day to ourselves with just Heath and Kevin, and had an informational interviewing session. We basically talked about how these are just as important as job interviews themselves. We all get caught up in wanting to get a job right after college, that we kind of lose the bigger picture of what we want to do in life because we feel so pressured by people around us who are getting all these jobs. So just kind of taking a step back and realizing that it's important to understand what we want to do and succeeding in life at something you're good at was kind of useful and valuable to take back with us. We also talk about informational interviewing builds your network. Obviously, a goal of informational interviewing isn't to go out and get a job. You're going out just to get information about what you want to do. But you never know where that conversation can take you. The person you talk to the first time might have many opportunities from people that they know that maybe the conversation leads in different areas. And lastly, it's just often forgotten about, kind of tying back to the first point. Again, we get so caught up in what we do and trying to look for jobs that we need to take a step back, realize the bigger picture, just kind of see what we want to do before we go out and make those opportunities.
So now we will move into the New York City site visits. To New York.
So to start off the trip, we went to breakfast at the Smith on Thursday. Here we met Mike Hawley, who was a graduate of 08, and he was a cable alumni. He is the senior account executive and partner activation for the New York Yankees. And so we really got to sit down and listen to his story, which was really unique. He had a pretty successful career in marketing. He was in Chicago, making a name for himself and doing really well, but it wasn't his passion. He really enjoyed baseball and wanted to work for baseball. So he dropped his career in Chicago, left, and tried to start a career in baseball. He found out very quickly that it's very hard to do that, and most teams won't hire you unless you have experience in the company, in the MLB, something of that nature. So he had to take an internship. He had to literally start back at square one. And he explained this to us as kind of taking a step back, and it was really a hard pill to swallow because he had a successful career, he was making money, and now he's going to have an internship. He said that Thanksgiving was a little awkward for him because all his family members were like, oh, how's your job going in Chicago? And he's like, yeah, I left that, and I'm back being an intern now. And so he said made some faces turning, but it was his passion, and is what he was following. So he started with a couple teams in the minor leagues, worked his way up, and now he's with one of the best teams in the MLB to the major leagues, and he's working there. Like I said, his main mission and statement to us was to follow your passion, because you really won't be successful if you don't do that. And we could see firsthand experience that he left something that he wasn't passionate about, got into something that he is, and now he's doing very successful.
Our next site visit was to Hearst Magazines. We met with Brian McCoach, who's a Wittenberg alumni of 2006 and is currently the Group Finance Director of Consumer Revenue at Hearst. We got a brief tour of the building that's up on the slide, and we learned a little bit about what Hearst does. Hearst Magazines is one of the largest magazine publishing companies in the world. They own over 300 magazines across the world from all different categories like men or women's health, sports, beauty, fashion. They own magazines like 17, Harper's Bazaar, pick a magazine, and there's a pretty good chance that Hearst owns it. So it makes for a pretty diverse company culture, and that was something that we really picked up on and enjoyed. After getting a brief tour of the building, we got to sit down with Brian, and he told us a little bit about his journey into Hearst and kind of what the company does. A key takeaway from that conversation was learning about the ways that Hearst has adapted to the changing media landscape of today. The rise of social media and the internet in the last couple decades has kind of led to a pretty big decline in print publications of magazines. And so publishing companies like Hearst have had to come up with new creative ways to adapt to that landscape. Kress has done a great job of that in opening up new online platforms like YouTube channels and different avenues for driving their content, which is really interesting. We also were able to go all the way up to the top floor of the giant building that you see there. I don't remember the number. It was like floor 44 or 47 or something like that. Don't remember, but it's very high. And we got to see, it was really cool because the view was really nice. You get to see miles and miles of the skyline, but then it was also like kind of dizzying and a little scary to be up there. But we got a really cool picture, and we really enjoyed visiting the company.
So after leaving Hearst Magazine, we made our way to Vaudeville Ventures, which is a small marketing and advertising agency. There we were met by Allison Jones, a graduate from 2006. She's the senior account director for Vaudeville, and she greeted us with her 3 executives, as you see in the picture. Very well accomplished, previous executives of big companies like AOL, for example. They also own their own businesses. For example, Michael Wolfson, he's the co-founder of The Knot, their big wedding planning website that has taken over the industry. And one thing that really stuck out to us during this visit, one key takeaway, was the quote, "Be respectfully aggressive." And this has to do with pretty much anything in life, but he was pertaining it more towards the interview, towards getting the job you want. You know, if someone denies you right away, you know, keep trying, keep bugging, but also be respectful. You know, don't go too far. And another key takeaway he had was to follow up. And this has to do with, you know, people you meet, right? Maybe connect with them on LinkedIn, send them a personal message, not, you know, your average, hey, I want to connect with you on LinkedIn. But this also goes for, you know, reconnecting with people that you might have lost in your network. So maybe reaching out to someone you worked with 10 years ago, catching up with them over a cup of coffee, because you really never know where those relationships can lead and what opportunities they can bring.
So now we'll just move into the case studies that we did on our university trip.
So to start our big day, we headed to JP Morgan Chase World Headquarters, where we met with 2 alumni, Charlie and DeBracco. They're very well known and well respected in their positions. And DeBracco is even regularly on CNBC, which made it a little intimidating to present to him. But we presented to them, and then we had an open conversation and received a lot of positive feedback about our presentation. And we also got to talk about other aspects, like how they got to where they are, what they're doing now, and their daily life.
All right, so here's our amazing team. We had Angelo, Corinne Berner, Mackenzie Sinclair, and Maddie Walters. We spent hours and hours researching and doing our best trying to solve these questions.
So we were given 5 questions. The first was the company obligation to retrain employees. So we looked at trends in the job market and the changes that are going to be happening. And then we figured out ways to enhance employee training, focusing on psychological capital and how to enhance digital training. The next we looked at is to prevent entrenched bureaucracies and the disadvantages and advantages that this could have and the possible failures that have already happened. Then next we looked at the university role in facilitating lifelong learning and how to bridge the gap between who is learning from the university. Right now it's just students and possibly retired people, but we want to bridge that gap and get the working force involved. And the next is what can the government do with the displaced worker, how can they help them, and what can they do to benefit a displaced worker.
So here were our insights. Advancing technology such as online training. This would be more globally accessible and more cost effective. Focus on increasing hero and psychological capital. This will make employees more productive and it will increase company loyalty. Give employees constant encouragement to grow, make them get outside their comfort zone so in their careers they'll be more expandable to different options. Build and maintain effective relationships with local universities. This will make, you will have more specialized education when it comes for your workers. And then the main goal of the government is to provide social safety net, and this will help aid displaced workers.
And finally, to wrap up our trip to New York, we headed to Google. When we got to Google, we were met by our host, Kayla Villegas, who was a Cable alum from 2016. We started the day off with an office tour. So when you think of a Google office, it probably, in your mind, you probably think it's a little bit different than any other office you've ever been to, and it was. So the floor that we toured was pretty unique. It had it had a big cafeteria with a lot of different options. They also had a kitchen that you could rent out with your team, so you could do a little of team building and learn how to cook from their chefs there. And the picture that you see up there, that is their deck that wrapped around the whole outside of the floor, so we got a really nice view of the city, and probably my favorite picture from the trip right there. And then finally, the floor was pretty open, so that everybody had a desk, but there was also a ton of spots that you could sit away from your desk, meet with other people. It just created a pretty relaxed and collaborative environment that I think a lot of us enjoyed seeing that culture involved there. Next, we did our presentation, which I'll touch on in a second, but our visit was concluded with a Googler career panel. It was made up of Wittenberg alum, but also just people that worked at Google. They talked to us about a lot of different things, gave us some career advice. We were able to ask questions, but some things that we took away were they told us to be authentic in everything we do. So whether that's being an interview or if we're just in our everyday work life or just our personal lives, being authentic gets you a lot farther. And finally, something that was kind of funny, we asked them what if they were intimidated to work at Google, because Google's such a big company, we were like, we'd be intimidated to work there. But they said that everybody puts their pants on the same way at Google that you would, that we do. So basically saying that we shouldn't be intimidated to go into these big companies like that because we're definitely qualified, and if we're being authentic and showing our real selves, then that's really all we can do. So this was the incredible team that I got to work with for Google. It was made up of myself, Jack, Elena, Vic, Maggie, and Ryan. So we were tasked by a Google team that consults for Marriott. So this team wasn't made up of Wittenberg alum, which was kind of interesting to see. And throughout the whole process, we got to work with them. So we would have phone calls with them, just kind of run our ideas past them, see their opinions, see if they had any extra feedback on what we were working on. We were tasked by them to increase booking with Marriott, to increase brand loyalty, especially with their new rewards program, Marriott Bonvoy. And we wanted to reach the luxury traveler segment of the market. And finally, with our project, we were given a $1 million budget to work on. So our plan consisted of a theme of #ExperienceMarriott. The way we came up with this was because we realized when we were looking at everything that Marriott does, they do a lot of unique things that the luxury traveler segment of the market's looking for. So we found that their main thing that they're looking for is experience. And Marriott offers things like using your points to go to a concert or have a culinary experience instead of maybe just renting a room. So that's what we focused on for the theme of our campaign. And our campaign had 4 different components. It started with traditional advertising, which is video advertising on Hulu, but also YouTube. Then we hit the website where we just tried to make some recommendations of how we can make it more user-friendly. Next we had a search campaign, which was made up of search and display network. And that picture that you see on the bottom up there is a mock ad that we came up with for our display network. So this would be something that if you're scrolling on a website, you'd see it in the banner on the side. We chose this because it represented one of their moments, the experiences that they offer. And finally, we had a social media campaign made up of Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Some challenges that we had when we did this was basically we had to narrow down our demographic, and we kind of picked a pretty wide age range of 25 to 60-year-olds. And I think it was hard for us to pinpoint what we really wanted to do because we didn't have any data available to us, so we didn't have data from Google or from Marriott or anything that they've done in the past. So that was a challenge that we had to overcome, but we did, and created a great plan that we got great feedback from the Google team. Another thing that was kind of funny that we had a challenge over was if you pronounce it Marriott or Marriott, and I think we're still in fights over that. So jury's still out on that one, but yeah, so that was what we did at Google.
So we wanted to first say thank you for attending this. Really appreciate all of you being here. Obviously, as you heard today, it was a long year. We learned a lot, we grew a lot. There was a lot of great opportunities. We were very thankful for the opportunity that we had. So as a token of our appreciation, as is tradition for all cable groups, to make a donation back to cable so that other people can have the same experience. So if we can, we'd like to just give our donation. Sorry, I know, I probably just messed it up. Thank you, appreciate it. Thank you. We also want to thank Kevin and Keith for all you guys do for us. So,
we love you.
And then open up the floor to any questions.
Alright, I feel like I ask this every year, but thinking back a year from now, you knew what you were getting into somewhat with cable, right? Some of the networking, informational interviews, site visits. As you think about your year and where you are today, what's something you didn't expect that you grow in, right? So an area of growth that you didn't anticipate starting the program.
For me, I always thought myself as a good public speaker, but what this program did for me was elevate that to an even higher degree, and that was, through visiting people, on our site visits or doing the first case study, right? I think it was those things that really helped.
I think as well, when I went into my internship, I was really prepared to know what I should be looking for, like who I should be talking to, the things I should be doing, such as like informational interviewing while I was there. And like the first semester really prepared me for that, and like made me pick out like what things I liked in a company, and that's why I decided to stay with Cintas. So I think that helped me a lot.
I guess I found out like more about myself, like giving our introductions to like every company we went to, it kind of like highlights who you are, and then they like perceive that and like see that as like we're all valuable people up here who can do like some pretty cool things. But like I didn't realize that a year from now, but once I like got it out and started talking about it, it kind of realized it.
How did the cable experience impact or affect your other academic, parts of you or your personal lives as well?
So I didn't really know what I wanted to do for a living, and then we had a speaker come in, Meghan, and she did a job that I didn't know existed, and it really got the ball rolling and really got me like passionate about psychological capital and just making people happy at work so that they're more productive and efficient and have better loyalty. And I didn't know that existed until this opportunity, and just finished my senior capstone paper on psychological capital.
Personally, I was also super thankful for this program. As I mentioned, I had gotten an internship through Speedway because of this, and I honestly never knew that opportunity existed. I had no clue what corporate recruiting was, even though it sounds very to the point. So being able to have that world open up was a great experience, and getting to meet new people and learning how to network. Networking is often thrown around a lot, but I didn't know how to do it, so being able to give, hey, this is how you connect with people on LinkedIn, just very stable advice that we could apply.
I'd say Cable did a really good job of helping me learn how I am individually as a leader. I think coming into the program, I was aware that we would learn how to be good leaders, but I kind of thought that there was only one type of leader and that I would learn how to become that type of leader, but realizing that there are many different types of leaders and each different person has different strengths that they can play to. And I think that learning that helped me be a lot more confident in myself, and that definitely led into all of my other classes and learning what I do best and like learning how to lead into that.
I guess my question is, did like the cable experience come up very often in like your guys' job interviews? Like, was that something that stuck out on your resume to employers, or?
I'll answer part of that. So I remember like in my job interview that I had for the summer in market research, like you put it on your resume that like it's like essentially a class you have to apply for, and like you tell them a little bit about like what you're doing, and they were very impressed by it. Like we told them that we usually have like a big case study. We didn't know actually what it was going to be. I was going to be Google and JP Morgan, like, wow, that's pretty impressive. Like, the fact that you're going to be able to do something like that. So it does come up, and like it's a very strong talking point because the fact you have to apply for it, you get interviewed for it, and you learn like so many different things is very valuable.
Yeah, I can speak on that a little bit as well. Yesterday, actually, I wouldn't say it comes up mostly for at least myself in job interviews, but it comes up just in normal conversation with anybody. Like I said, yesterday I was in Columbus all day for meetings for real estate, and I was by far the youngest person in the room. And so it was a little intimidating because I'm sitting there trying to talk with these people who have built stable careers and really, not to be mean or anything, but they don't think much of young people, like, oh, you're new in this industry, what do you know? But when I can come in and say, oh yeah, I just presented to JP Morgan in New York, it turns their head a little bit, and then I can build off of that and really make a stable case for myself. So if you know how to market it correctly, it will work, and it does great things for you.
Right, yeah, I'll touch on that. It's all about how you sell it, because most people you interview for have no idea what cable is. So, if they kind of don't bring it up, you bring it up in a subtle way. Maybe something you did with the program, or, it's mainly how you sell it. But it can definitely give you an edge over the other applicants.
So I noticed that a lot of you guys are very involved on campus, and cable is also like a very big project, and I'm just wondering like how many hours a week like this program really takes up of your life.
It depends on the week.
It also depends on the semester. So like going back to that spring case study, obviously like those aren't as intensive, and like those case studies we were just presenting to those lovely gentlemen over there. But you know, there's a lot more pressure when you're applying to Google, or when you're presenting to Fortune 100 companies like Google and JP Morgan. So I think it depends on the week, but like I don't know about everyone else, but like I loved the work so much it didn't feel like work. Like we would have group meetings in the same room in the library, and they were like 50% fun and 50% work, but like work was fun. I don't know. It's like going back to what Ross was saying earlier. Like if you're passionate about it, it doesn't feel like work.
It's also like a cliche saying, like you get out of what you put into it. There's like certain weeks where you don't really have like quote unquote homework, but like we'll have a guest speaker coming in, and Heath and Kevin will tell us like, do your research, you have questions prepared, and if you don't, then you're just going to be sitting there listening to information that like is somewhat worthless to you because you don't really know what they do. But if you like sit down for even if it's just 30 minutes or to an hour, like look them up on LinkedIn, look at their company, what they do, like it's so much more valuable.
I would say during the case studies, like we spent since we got our case study, we met at least once a week, and then would be there for at least an hour for the Google group at least. And then when it got more intense, like I would say probably 3 weeks out, we met like probably twice a week. And then like when it got closer, we met every day that week before. So like the case study takes up a lot of time, but like Maggie said, like I didn't really feel like work because it was fun. It was real life problems that we were able to like solve for a business or like help them solve. So it was, I don't know, it was a good experience.
And going off of that, these group projects are a lot different than your typical group projects in other classes because you're working with a group of leaders. So generally in other classes you might have a leader and somebody else, and you two are doing most of the work. But when you are with a group of leaders, everybody's pulling their weight, everybody's contributing, and there's a lot of great ideas that are bouncing off, so it's not as stressful, and I think that's where the fun aspect of it comes in, is that everybody's interested and everybody's vested, and it's a very great opportunity.
You have a question?
What is one skill that like you learned through your cable experience that you didn't expect you'd learn a year ago?
I think it's kind of finding out how to be authentic to yourself. One of the presenters we had, he talked about authenticity and just like kind of finding your own self, and like all through all the personality tests we take and everything. I think you kind of find out like what kind of path you want to go into and how you can evolve yourself as a leader.
I was a very dominant leader. Like I always led every single thing I did. It was very noticeable to everyone around me. So I took my whole first semester just like taking a step back and kind of just like listening to the conversation and giving my ideas like when I can, but not making sure that my ideas are the ideas. And it was just a big learning experience to just be a part of something rather than be the leader of something.
One skill I think, and this, I don't know how it's going to sound, but the 45-second intro. You know, I bet like if I asked like, hey, tell me like about yourself, like you might have to think about it for a minute, you know, like where am I going to start? But like every time we go to a site visit or every time a speaker comes in, like we have to do it, and you just get very comfortable like doing it. Like you can do it at any time. Like it comes out very naturally. I think at this point, so just being able to like introduce yourself, but in a professional manner, and get across that like, you know, I have these qualities, I have these qualifications. Like I'm not just your run-of-the-mill like college kid. It's like I have like some worth. I think is a pretty big skill that can be very, very helpful.
Yeah, like during my internship, someone would come up to me and be like, "Oh, like who are you? Tell me a little bit about yourself." Then I just like whip out this blue and they'd be like, "Wow," you know. So just things like that.
Sorry.
Hi. What was one of the struggles that you all ran into with like your case studies, and how did you guys use your teamwork to get over that, I guess, like rough patch?
Ooh, I can see. So all of us being leaders, right? We all have our vision. You know, it was able to come together as a conglomerate and not kind of overpower, because all of us have our own ideas and thoughts, right? And we're maybe used to being the leader in certain things. So kind of just finding that balance of sharing ideas and being able to come together as leaders.
As a college student, you don't know what an entrenched bureaucracy is or what goes on with unemployment or displaced workers. We actually had to Google displaced worker. We did not know what, we thought we knew what it was, then we Googled it. totally wrong, had to start over. And entrenched bureaucracies really threw Maddie for a loop.
I can give you the definition.
But I think that was the hardest part, and just kind of realizing that they gave these questions to their company on the regular, so our initial ideas, we just threw them all out because they were already hearing these. So we had to find new ideas. We had to dig a little bit harder and give them something they hadn't heard.
Yeah, I know one struggle, at least like for the Google group that we had, which we kind of touched on, was a lack of like primary data. So we reached out to Google and Marriott and we said, hey, like, can we get some information about like what a luxury traveler is? And they unfortunately couldn't give us any information, so we had to go and kind of find that. And Elena did a really good job of just like doing research and like trying to find like as much as we could. And she ran into an issue, maybe coming to like one of those like weekly group meetings and saying like, hey, I can get like this information, but I maybe can't get like their income, for example. Could someone maybe help me look for it? Just like coming together and just trying to solve a problem like that was just the culmination of us all working together. Sorry.
It was kind of mentioned before, but a lot of our ideas that we threw out there, we were like, oh, this is a great idea, and then we'd look up and be like, they're already doing it. So not necessarily having to completely switch your idea, but trying to find other aspects of that idea that they can improve. So not necessarily like, oh, let's think super outside the box, but what can they improve to make this actually applicable to their company as well?
And Google gave us only $1 million to work with, and then like the first piece of feedback they gave us was we should have given them a $10 million plan. And so like metaphorically speaking, especially for like the new cable group, don't be afraid to like take the extra step and like do something a little bit bigger than what you're told, because like as soon as they told us that, we were like, oh yeah, that's like really good. But we were like, we're just like students who read like the case study off a sheet of paper, and so we were like, we have to stick to $1 million. But then once they told us 10 million, we were like, yeah. So just don't be afraid to like reach a little bit.
I have a question. So, since we have a lot of future cablers and a lot of people here that are interested in potentially joining cable, I want to touch on something that got said. Feel free for anybody to answer this, but Corinne, I want to hear your opinion first, all right? So you said that I think your statement was, I got my internship because of cable. I believe the misconception is that I join cable and I get a free internship, right? And I think you're selling yourself very short, because the reality is you earned the internship, right? And I'm sure Speedway had 100 interns and they only offered a few of them full-time job opportunities. You were one of those. Can you elaborate more on what cable did for you to allow you to earn the internship and then thrive in the internship to get the full-time opportunity?
Yeah, for sure. That's definitely what I meant. Right there. But all in all, cable really got us in the door. They sent our resumes to the people. They taught us how to do those 45-second intros. They gave us the tools to be able to showcase our best self. So it's not necessarily, hey, join cable and we're going to get you these really cool internships. You have to put in the work to be able to get those opportunities, but they do provide you the tools to do that.
I think for me, just like I got my internship because one of my parents' friends works at the company that I interned at the corporate headquarters, so I just like kind of knew how to go about that and like find those people. Like I would literally just sit on LinkedIn and like look through like where could I apply, like who do I know that works there, but like I wouldn't have known to do that unless I had cable. But I know that when I was also struggling to find an internship. I was kind of getting down to the end there, and like Heath and Kevin were both willing just to like sit down with me and like talk through everything. Like, do they know anyone? Are there any ideas? Or like just kind of like talk through it. So it wasn't just me that was doing it myself. Like they were also a resource to kind of bounce off of. But they didn't like get us the internship. If that makes sense.
I think another thing, cable really teaches you the strengths that you have that you didn't know you had. This is a very impressive group of people, and I came in thinking like, wow, I'm not bilingual, I can't touch that. Like, who am I? I can't do anything. Like, these people are so involved. But it really teaches you, like, actually you do have a lot of traits and skills that are very marketable to people, and you just have to be able to hone in on them and have the confidence to assert yourself and say, hey, this is what I have done, I'm proud of this work, and these are my skills, and I think I can really help the company.
How about one more question, and then we'll wrap up.
I think Dr. Wilson had a question.
Oh, no. I was just trying to get your attention. Sorry.
That's why you're standing up.
Shoot.
I'm going to go get ready to give you an exam.
Oh, that's hard.
All right, fine. I'll give another one. You've got the future cablers here right in front of you. Why don't 2 or 3 of you think of one piece of advice for them? One thing that you wish somebody told you while you were sitting at this desk last year.
Don't compare yourself to the people sitting next to you. Like, you're your own person and you have your own strengths, and that's what you need to play to. And like Corinne kind of touched on this earlier, but like I walked in and like I only really knew Elena, and like I didn't really know anything about anyone else up here, and like hearing everyone's credentials, like it honestly made me feel bad about myself. but it's really easy to feel like defeated, I guess, and especially when you have alum coming in who are like CEOs and, you know, like working for MLB. Like, I feel like it's really easy to be like, oh, you know, like I'll never get to that level, whatever. But like you just need to like be your own person and like not compare your experiences to everyone else's. Just like be the best that you can be.
Whoa. Yeah, I'll touch a little bit on that. So one of the things that happens when we go on these site visits or talking to different people is it may not apply to you. It's something, it may be a different industry, maybe something that you're not really interested in, and some people usually tend to like tune out, and they just sit there and they listen and they're like, oh, okay, yeah, but when they walk away and, you know, later in the day they're like, oh, we had so-and-so speak, well, what did they tell you? I don't know, I didn't really pay attention. That happens a lot. And so what I would tell you guys to do is, whether it be something you're interested in or you're not, pay attention, be in the moment, because there's something that you can take out of everything. That's one thing we learned as well in New York. One guy said that if you can walk away and say, okay, what did I learn in that, you know, hour or so session, then you walked away successful. And like I said, don't think that you're either above wherever you're listening to or wherever you're going, or below it. You know, you can learn and take something out of every opportunity that this gives you, and then that goes into how, you know, like Corinne got her job. If you can market that to your strengths, if you can give that, then you're going to help yourself. I think it is a misconception that cable just gives you an internship. We'll certainly get you in the door, but it's then on you. And if you put in the work and you do, you know, a good job, then you will be successful.
Oh, you got one more?
Yeah,
Go for
just
it.
real quick.
Go for it.
One piece of advice I really wish I would have learned is, you know, just like be comfortable being uncomfortable. And like an example of that is when we were doing like our Google group, Ryan was in charge of doing like the website and like how should I like redo the website and like we're like so like marketing things. But you know, Ryan, he's a math major. And, like he even said like in our group, like I don't really know sometimes like what would be like the best thing for this, or what would be like the best way of going about this. But you know, he worked really hard on it. Like he did a great job. Like people in the presentation even said like, wow, we really love like what you do with the website. And so now that's like a skill that he had. You know, he put himself out there. He did something that he wasn't, you know, as comfortable doing, but now he has that like really strong skill, and he can talk about that. That's my only advice.
It's been said numerous times. Thank you all for coming and learning about what we spent the last year doing. But I want to shine the thank yous to the 11 of you before we end. Thank you. You were a delight to work with all year. You were a fantastic representation of the university, and for all the hard work that you put in through all those speakers, all the site visits, the New York City trip. You all were great, and so I can speak for everybody else. We all thank you, because you really were just a tremendous representation of the university. So thank you. And that's it. So feel free to we're going to do a quick
Where do you want me to usually how it was. We got it down.
Okay, bye. Bye, guys. Good luck with your lab. Yep.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. I made it out of group when I walked and stepped up. I didn't
Who has their health insurance card in the back?
To see you get the round.
Are we on
Do you want to put it on the first slide, the final presentation?
Talking more.
It's just not clear what we just did.
Alright. Here it is. Hold on, I gotta be next to it. Right here. Alright. I'm just doing it for Ross.